Yes, good morning. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. And I mean that literally and figuratively. Wake up. Wake up. I give you guys a challenge. Do not be the person that leaves this conference who has pages and pages of notes, got your picture with CJ, E.T., Carl, and Jamal. You've been posting on Facebook, all social media outlets about how much information you're getting and how powerful this is and all this amazing information. And when you leave here, those pages and pages and pages of notes go in the corner and in the drawer with the last notes from the last conference. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. I need you to repeat after me. I can. I will. I must be demanding. I can. I will. I must not leave here with a page of notes and not put together my 1 to 3 action items. I'll say that. My 1 to 3 action items. Because you've got to leave here and you've got to be committed and intentional about what you are going to complete. Not what you're going to do. Because you'll do and do and do and do and do. What are the 1 to 3 action items that you are going to complete? Take a moment and think about it. Think about it. Write them down. 1 to 3 action items that you are going to complete, not do. Okay, birthday girl, you got yours written down? There you go. Write them down. No, 1 to 3. Did y'all hear what the birthday girl said? She said, I got so many things I want to do. Guess what? You won't do any of them if you don't start completing the first thing. The first thing. 1 to 3 things you are going to complete. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this right here is universal for 3 things. The first thing that it's universal for is surrender. Right? When you're like, I'm done. The second thing that it's universal for is gratitude. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. How many of you be in your prayer closet just like, and the third thing that it's universal for is victory. Everybody on your feet. Everybody on your feet. Everybody on your feet. Everybody standing. Everybody standing. Everybody standing. Everybody standing. Everybody standing. Everybody standing. Now, universal for 3 things: surrender, gratitude, and victory. I want you to think right now, what is that one thing that you need to surrender? That you're done with. You brought it in this room and you knew that you was done with it. It may be a person. You know that conversation, that relationship is toxic and it needs to stop. It may be a place, a thing, an idea, a paradigm, a mindset, but you need to leave it in this room. You are done. In March 2012, when I got serious about doing my book proposal for my book, Exponential Living, Stop Spending 100% of your time on 10% of who you are, God told me this: if you really want to complete this, you got to stop going everywhere, you got to stop talking to everybody, and you got to stop doing everything. What did he say? He said, you got to get to yourself. What do you need to surrender? Now, this is a you and God thing, because there's some things that only you and God can do. There's some things that only God can release from you. My favorite book says, cast your cares on him, and he will lift you up in due season. What is that one thing you need to surrender? Now, on the count of 3, you're going to follow me. You're going to put your hands up in the universal symbol for surrender. And you and God, you're going to tell God, what's that thing that you are done with? Y'all with me? Y'all with me? Y'all with me? 1, 2, 3. We're going to go up in the universal sign of surrender. What is it? You and God. You and God. You and God. You and God. Hands down. Now, the second thing is universal for is gratitude. Gratitude. What's that one thing that you are thankful for, and you haven't even stopped to say thank you? You haven't even acknowledged it. What's that one thing that you are grateful for, that you are thankful for? And this time you're going to speak it out. Again, my favorite book says that when God spoke, he created. And so right now, I want you to speak it out because I want you to create an atmosphere of gratitude. So what's that one thing you're grateful for? But here's the thing. You haven't even stopped to say thank you. You got it? On the count of 3. One thing you're grateful for. Hands are going to go up. 1, 2, 3. Speak it out. Speak it out. Speak it out. Hands down. Now, y'all know where we're going, right? Y'all know where we're going? Let me tell you, I am a sports fanatic, right? And the third thing this is universal for is victory. Now, I'm a sports fanatic, so last week, the Baltimore Ravens played, okay, come on, Baltimore Ravens fans. Yes, the Baltimore Ravens, led by Lamar Jackson, I went to the University of Louisville, I'm a Lamar Jackson fan, played against the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. You got an NFL MVP, Lamar. You got a Super Bowl champion and MVP of the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes. Lamar has never beat Patrick. So here we are, a minute and a half left in the game. Baltimore is driving. 4th down, 4th and about 4 inches. The score is 36-35. Baltimore's charging, they got the ball. 4th and about 4 yards. Coach Harbaugh's on the sideline. Lamar, you want to do it? You want to go for it? You want to go for it? Lamar's over here like, absolutely, let's go. Let's go. He lines up, run for the first down. That means Baltimore wins. What does he do? Right here. What's your victory? What's your one thing? But here's the thing. You done prayed for it. You done worked for it. You done sacrificed for it. And you were just on to the next thing. You asked God for this thing, fasted for this thing. And I get it. I'm driven. But you got to celebrate the victory. You got to celebrate the victory. Now, this time, I want you to scream your one thing out with a voice of triumph. Let me tell you, the Bible says they walked around. And they walked around, and they walked around, and they walked around, and they walked around, and on the 7th day, with a voice of triumph, the walls came down. The walls came down. It is your voice of victory that the walls come down. Come on, what's that one thing? What's that one thing? On the count of 3. But I want you guys to yell so loud that the manager comes to CJ and go, what in the world are they doing in there? What are they doing? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, take your seat. Take your seat. Thank you. So a little bit about me. I am a small town girl. And when I was about 13 or 14, God began, at the time I thought it was a dream, but what I realized now that it was God speaking purpose into my life. So when I was about 13 or 14, God began to speak into my life that I was going to live in Atlanta and I was going to work in the entertainment industry. Now let me put a little pretext around that. First of all, I had never been to Atlanta. And even though Atlanta is now the hub of entertainment, at this time, there was no entertainment industry in Atlanta. So when I was telling people I'm gonna work in the entertainment industry and I'm gonna live in Atlanta, and I'm like 13, 14, 15, people thought I was crazy, since they thought I was talking about building hotels on Mars, right? That's how realistic I sounded. But I had this dream. I'm gonna build I'm gonna live in Atlanta, and I'm gonna work in the music industry. Now, and again, I'm gonna put a little framework around this. Now, I'm a woman of a certain age. So when I was telling people I'm gonna live in Atlanta, there was no entertainment industry here. And I literally had this dream and I'd speak it, like Jamal said. I spoke it. Now, during this time, how many of you guys are familiar with Jermaine Dupri? How many are familiar with Jermaine Dupri? Okay, most of the room. Y'all know he's from Atlanta. He's one of the most prolific producers out of Atlanta. Well, when I was saying I'm gonna live in Atlanta and I'm gonna work in the music industry, Jermaine Dupri was in middle school, okay? When I was saying that I was gonna live in Atlanta and work in the music industry, L.A. Reid and Kitty Babyface Edmonds, who went on to found LaFace Records, one of the most successful record labels, most impactful record labels, they were literally touring the country with a group called The Deal. Let me gauge my room. I only think of you on 2 occasions. That's day and that's okay. This is my audience. So they weren't thinking about living in Atlanta and having no record label, right? But I had this dream. So I went off to college. I went to the University of Louisville, and a professor in one of my classes said, okay, if you know what you want to do, put together a list and just ask those people to do a 15-minute informational interview with you. Oh, I'm driven. Okay, let me put together my list because I'm driven. That's what I need to do, I'm going to do it. So again, I'm a woman of a certain age, so let me put a little pretext around this. Every week, I would put together 20 to 25 cover letters and resumes. Now, this was before we had computers. I know. Thank you. This was before we had computers. So I had to type 20 cover letters, 20 to 25 resumes every week. Type with a typewriter. Some of y'all may need to Google that, okay? With a typewriter, because it had to be the original paper. I would do that, 20 to 25 a week. Then I had to follow up with a phone call, right? Okay. This was before cell phones. I say that to my 14-year-old. She was like, there was a time there weren't cell phones? Absolutely. So I lived in the dorm, and on the wall, there was one phone. Everybody used that one phone. And this was before long distance. Now, when I speak in certain audiences, I have to explain what long distance is. Do y'all know what long distance is? Y'all know? Okay, so I don't have to explain that. Believe it or not, I do have to explain what long distance is. And so there's the phone at the end of the hall. And so what I had to do is I had to get my calling card. Oh, sis, you remember? Yeah, we here. So you would have to dial in the 10 digits, then you would dial in the phone number, then you would put in the passcode, right? Now, I had to do this 20 to 25 times a week, right? So I'm typing the letters, the cover letters, and the resumes, and I'm making the phone calls. And I did this for a total of about 5.5 years. Now, remember, I'm only trying to get executives to give me 15 minutes to do a 15-minute informational interview. How many interviews do you guys think I secured? Just yell it out. 3, 1, 2, 20, 15, 7, still haven't hit it. 5, 0. 20 to 25 cover letters and resumes for about 5.5 years, and not one executive took my call. Don't ever be too busy to not give somebody 15 minutes.